Political panel, Caroline Heldman, political scientist, Democratic strategist, and professor of critical theory and social justice at Occidental College, and Joel Pollack, opinion editor at the California Post and former senior editor at large at Breitbart News. Welcome to you both. So this puts Democratic senators in a weird place, who for so many years have said, we believe the women, we believe the women. And then all of a sudden, maybe aren't believing these women. Some are, some aren't. Here is what some are telling our Manu Raju on Capitol Hill today.
We hold folks to the higher standards here in the Democratic Party, and I have not supported him nor given money to him. He has to account for his own actions.
Graham Plattner has taken responsibility for his past. He's indicated he is not proud of who he was, and he has asked the people of Maine to judge him based on the work he has done since then and who he has done now. And I think that's what last night's results show.
You've spent so much time of working in this space, working with women who are victims. How do you see this whole story?
I think Graham Plattner's most recent allegations are very odious. I would not want to be a Maine voter. I think if you're a Maine voter, you are either voting for a misogynist, which he very clearly is. There's a lack of self-reflection, not about the tattoo, not about the previous comments on Reddit from 10 years ago. I actually think he did a great job with that. I love call-in, I love restorative practices where if people self-reflect on something and take accountability for their actions, then you bring them back into the community, into the fold. I actually think that's a selling point for Graham Plattner. But these most recent allegations are 2023. He hasn't done that. He's obviously got some unresolved misogyny that he needs to deal with. So you're either voting for a misogynist or you're voting for the woman who played a pivotal role in overturning Roe v. Wade. So I think, in terms of policy, it's a pretty clear choice, but it's not an easy choice. And I think that's what Democrats right now are navigating. And some of them could do more, right, to call this out because it's open misogyny.
Do you think there's some Democratic hypocrisy here, Joel?
Yes, I think Democrats are supporting him because they believe he's going to win. I think the early polling...
Or they think that he has to win.
Well,
yeah.
I think they might have looked for an alternative if he hadn't been leading Susan Collins by such a wide margin. And I think the prospect of him helping them take back the Senate is what is helping Democrats get over the moral problems and the questions. And I think they'll regret that in the long run because Susan Collins often runs behind early in her reelection campaigns and then comes back to win. And we could be having a conversation in November about why did they choose this guy? This was really an inexplicable choice. The Nazi tattoo, that's what really got me. I mean, it's not just a Nazi tattoo, it's the concentration camp symbol for the SS. And he claims he didn't know what it was, but he had it on for so long. And it's just, the funny thing is about that, he didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo, but then he says things like he's going to fight the control of AIPAC over Congress, which is basically an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. So he's not a Nazi anymore, but now he's got these Jews that he's going to fight. I mean, it's not credible.
Well, there's a difference between AIPAC and Jewish people.
But people who are obsessed with AIPAC in a particular way,
it's not necessarily the same thing. But your point.
That's
the
formula. We all know it.
So, but in terms of this, though, I mean, why do you think Maine voters are so attracted to him for that? With all that being said, there's some sort of authenticity or something about him that people are clearly drawn to in that state.
Well, Alex, I think it's the timing. I actually think had the revelations in the New York Times article come out from 2023, we might be in a different place. I actually think they might have chosen perhaps Mills or gotten another candidate into the race. And I will say it's not too late. There's still a month for the Democratic Party in the state of Maine to, if he were to step down, to choose somebody. I think his previous allegations, he had a very good humanizing reason for that. It was PTSD. It was related to service. You felt for him. He came out and he apologized. We have not seen that with these most recent allegations. And they are misogynistic. They're abusive. Yeah, the Democrats need a come to Jesus moment about why it is that they're not condemning him more vehemently.
And what do you make of Donald Trump calling him a pig?
Well, Donald Trump is a man with 26 serious allegations of sexual violence. He has two civil findings allegations against him, right, for sexual misconduct. This is a man who's all over the Epstein files. 2 13-year-olds have come forward and made allegations against him. I find it just the apex of hypocrisy.
And those allegations are not proven, and he has not been charged with any crimes in terms of that. But let's talk, Joel, about Donald Trump when it comes to the Iran war. We see more strikes just in the last 24 hours. The threat of a full-on resumption of the war. We know so many folks in the Republican Party voted for him because they thought he wasn't going to do Middle East wars. As somebody who's so in touch with the Republican base, where is the base on this?
I think most Republicans are supporting him, and I think the bias among Republicans and Americans in general is towards success. So if Trump can show that he's succeeding in achieving the goals of the war, then people will support it. The moment it looks like it's not working, then support falls off and people start asking, why did we do this? But we're coming up on the 250th anniversary of the country. And the reason we have a Navy is because Thomas Jefferson decided that we were never going to pay tribute to pirates from Islamic caliphates that tried to stop our shipping and kidnap our sailors and make them into slaves. And the Iranians haven't learned from our history. They're just running the same playbook. And this goes back to Jefferson. It's not just Trump. This can only end one way.
Do you think this war is working, though?
I do. And I think that the blockade has successfully denied Iran an ability to raise money, which means they can't sustain this for very long. And they're trying everything they can. I think they're desperate to maintain control, but I think ultimately we win this.
Your eyebrows raised to the top of your head.
Joel, you're such a smart, wonderful human, right? But those are talking points. This is not a successful war. All you have to do is look at polling amongst the Republican Party. It's a wildly unpopular war. About 2/3 of Americans don't support it. We are right now, by the way, just to be clear, we are fighting to get back to where we were, which is the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. We started this. I teach a class on international relations, and we talk about what will happen if you go into Iran. And so a 101 class simulation, it happened, and now it's not a hypothetical anymore. We are also fighting about enriched uranium, right? And that was the JCPOA that Obama signed in 2015 that Donald Trump got us out of. So our two primary foci at this moment are to get back to baseline. And we are right now bombing night after night. Why? To get a memo signed. That memo doesn't agree to anything, really. It agrees to us sitting down at the table. So this is like amateur hour in the Middle East, and we are in an unfortunate situation where it might escalate into a ground war simply because we can't get out of this quagmire.
All right, well, we have to leave it there, but you both are coming back in our next hour. You're going to be with us to talk about the California elections and more, so Caroline, Joel, we'll see you then. Thanks for being here. Also still